proximity or Windows Phone server and I have to log into it or whatever in terms of the
Okay. Any others?
I think the ability to seamlessly integrate into Media Center really, you play on the advantages to developers to make their own mark in terms of creating their own look to an application, but in a home environment where, say, you use it with Wi-Fi acceptance factor is important. The different look of the different applications, the way you interact with them, does make a difference. It'd be nice if there was actually more. I think this is something maybe Microsoft has gone away from in terms of allowing developers to actually use the interface that's native.
Yeah, and that is kind of akin to the religious war between Macs and PCs. There is a group of people that say, both within Microsoft and outside of Microsoft, that say there ought to be those controls available so that people can write applications that look like Media Center, and another group that say there shouldn't be those available because people ought to have their own environments, set their own design for their application that follows their corporate style. I don't know if anyone ever saw the Napster interface for Media Center. It came out with Media Center 2005. That was pretty cool. Same concept, navigating left, right, top, down, but it was using their own style buttons and trying to really mimic what you saw with Napster on the PC, and that worked pretty well. Same for things like this. There are some things that you really can't do a user interface that has the blue buttons and all that kind of stuff on, but there are other things that you can. And for those people that do want to do that, you can do it. I mean, you can see from... I keep trying to press the glide pad on here and it hasn't got them.
You broke it.
Oops. Yeah, you can see from... How do I get that on the screen? That worked really well.
Turn the screen around.
Yeah. Failed with the technology. So here, the background button that you can see there with focus, it's not beyond the wit of someone who's developing for Media Center to actually get the graphics that they need. That is the graphic from Media Center that you use for developing buttons, that Microsoft used for developing buttons in Media Center. So the look and feel is possible to generate. It's just not made readily available to developers. But you'll see most applications use a blue background. They use buttons that look like the Microsoft ones. They use pivots that look like the Microsoft ones, and to a greater or lesser extent, depending on the skills and patience of the developer to mimic what's there already.
Do you think some of that issue that I particularly have may go away because of the way that Windows 7 you can actually skin it to a certain degree? I know it's a bit of a hack.
Well, you can skin Vista in the same way. The applications exist to change the resource files within Media Center to do that.
Yeah.
But that really is.
The applications, though, will it?
Sorry?
Will that affect the applications?
No, and it won't affect them in Windows 7 either. You would have to write your applications in a skinnable fashion and pull the resources direct from Media Center, which is dangerous at best, because if Microsoft do an update that changes where those resources are or what they're called, your application suddenly no longer works. So you'd have to think very carefully about how it's done. It's something that I've looked at as part of, obviously, as a developer, I have a control library that I've developed over time, and I've spent time recently completely revamping that so that it's completely encapsulated. I'm looking at the possibility of releasing that for other people to use, so that there is some consistency, and one of the things that's got in it is the ability to skin. It doesn't...
You're watching now, unfortunately this demonstration is, you really are going to need to be a little bit closer. So what it does is it pulls up 9 images. That was what was on the screen initially, and every 40 seconds subsequently. Now I'm looking for Kamala, who played yellow, and unfortunately there's nobody in yellow playing on the screen. So you can imagine that if you've got 3 rows displayed, but there's other rows underneath, Now if you hit the down arrow, it'll scroll down 3 rows. So you're scrolling through, and that's 5 minutes 20 at a time. So you can go through fairly quickly through the video. And if we do that again, what you won't be able to see on this small screen, but if it was up on the screen, you'd be able to see that there's somebody in yellow playing here. So it would be a reasonable guess that somewhere between these 2 frames is the correct starting point. Now, as I said, we've just changed the software, so we haven't yet got the numbers up on the screen, but the numbers are in the same position as the numbers on the remote control, so it's fairly intuitive. So if you hit number 9, it splits the video between frames 8 and 9. So if we do that, it splits the video, and now instead of a 40-second gap, it's a 5-second gap. So you're drilling down incredibly quickly. And as luck would have it, we have the starting frame there that says Bangor versus Carmarthen. So if you double-click on a frame, it'll start from that frame. Now, for long video files, that could be quite tedious. So, for example, if you were wanting to just see in a chat show, an interview, you can either scroll down, or if you hit the right arrow, it'll double the gap size. So instead of 40 seconds and 5 minutes 20, you've now got 1 minute 20 gap size, and you've now got 10 minutes 40 on the screen. Do it again, and you've now got 21 minutes worth of video on the screen. And you can see, or you would be able to see if the frame was if it was a bit bigger, but the guy's being interviewed there. So we zoom in as before, and we just hit 9, and then we can see that the guy's coming there. So we hit 6, and then 9 again, and you found the correct starting point, and that's 20 minutes and 21 seconds in. And then for long video files like Pulp Fiction, if you want to find the GIMP scene, for whatever reason, you combine the doubling of the gap size with scrolling down. So if you double it once, twice, 3 times, so you've got a gap size of anything more than the 5 minute 20 gap size, it becomes a little bit difficult to see what you're looking at. And then you scroll down until you see what you want. Okay, nothing there. Right, that's something unpleasant there in screen 1, so we zoom in, and then 6, okay, and then 8. And you've found the start of the GIMP scene, and that's 93 minutes and 55 seconds in. And so it's quite an effective way of navigating through video. Now, like I said, this is currently in alpha, and we've got a few bits of tidying up to do. But obviously we're mad keen for people to basically beta test it for us. So if you go onto the website, research.tv, there's a little form to leave your name and email, and we'll get back to you. And if you are interested,
Can you try Windows 7 as well then?
Yeah, Windows. It should work Windows 7 as well. Yes. Although I believe that there's a slight problem with the fact that the right arrow, which is currently what we use to call up grid search in Vista, there's a call on that within Windows 7, so that's something that we've got to get sorted out. But we're working on that. So hopefully within the next 2 or 3 weeks. So if you're interested in having a play with the application, go to the website. I'll give you a card, and I'll get back to you, and you can have a play with it. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Okay, so we're going to have a break now before we start the next session looking at Windows Home Server. So while we're in the break, I think we've got some food coming as well. Take a look at the kit up here from Orion Systems. The guys here will talk to you about it because you really want to check out this machine. Afraid we're not giving away this one as a prize though. So thanks, so we'll probably be about quarter
I do
of an hour.
accept checks.
The agenda around slightly while we're waiting for the pizza to arrive. So now, talking Windows Home Server. So Andrew, over to you.
Thanks, Ian. Yeah, if the pizzas turn up, we'll probably stop or grab pizzas, so I'll run through this as quickly as I can. Before I go any further, one of the questions Ian asked everyone at the start was how many of you had home server. So I'll ask a slightly different question. How many of you haven't got home server? Right, come see me after the presentation. I've got evaluation copies at home server.